neighborhood champion boxing in sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Who is MIYO YOSHIDA? This name keeps coming up, and I'm like, who is she? And I had to go and take a look. I'm like, okay, she's 18 wins. She has 5 losses, no KOs. So she's just in there doing the work. 5'3.5", 63-inch reach. She is from Japan, fighting out of New York. And she fights at 120 pounds. Okay. 117, 120. So she's a little small thing. But the thing about her, right, is her name keeps coming up because she's a 3-time 2-division world champion. And right now they're lobbying the IBF to match her with Trinica Johnson. Now, Johnson is 19-2 with 8 KOs, and Yoshida is 18-5. But she's in pursuit of her 8th world title fight. Now, when I had this thrown my way, I was like, yo, who's she supposed to be fighting? Like, why are they pushing her name to me? You know what I'm saying? Because right now we're talking about Caroline Dubois, Baumgardner, we're talking about Michaela Mayer, we're talking about all the ladies, Katie Taylor Serrano, Shadesha Green, Hannah Gabriels, and, everyone else in between. Fran Shaw, we're talking about everybody. So I'm like, all right, let me take a look into it. But Yoshida, this is my thing. She's 37 years old, claimed the WBO junior bantamweight titles in 2019 and 2021. So she's not a spring chicken. But she's still out here getting busy, you know what I'm saying? In 2024, she was a late replacement. Went 10 rounds, got a decision over Ebanie Bridges in a fight that many people were shocked. She was able to win the IBF title at bantamweight before losing to Sharetta Metcalf. Although Yoshida's manager, Keith Sullivan, they argued that, the scores were unfair. But I'm going to tell you this. Yoshida can scrap. But the reality is she's probably just going to be one of those kind of fighters who I would say is a gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? But this is the thing. You just don't know what's going to happen in that boxing ring. Because when you have somebody like Yoshida, Japanese, one thing about the Japanese fighters, disciplined, technically sound, durable, mentally tough. You look at the male Japanese fighters, you look at the female Japanese fighters, there's no quitting. No kidding, like they're ready to go out on their shields. They're ready to lose their lives over this shit. They fight with honor for their country. Just because they're not loud on social media, they're not out here chasing clout, they're not fighters that are built on hype. Don't come out here thinking that they're pushovers. They build their careers inside the ring, round by round. And that's why I think you can't sit there and sleep on her. I'll tell you what, Ebanie Bridges and her fan base, they learned the hard way back in 2022. They underestimated Yoshida. And Bridges, of course, had the personality promotion spotlight, out there showing off her body and everything. Nothing wrong with that, man. She want to come out there. Hey, like I said, the women can do what they want. I don't really have too much of an opinion on it, but, some people do. I, for one, do what you want. Makes you happy, go for it. But the bottom line is Yoshida got up there and she shocked Ebanie Bridges, man. Came in there calm, composed, boxed efficiently, and proving once again that substance beats noise. And that's important to understand when it comes to boxing, that the substance, when the bell rings, beats the noise outside the ring when the bell doesn't go off. But when you look at her styles and strengths, just what can she do at an elite level? Well, she's a pressure technician. She ain't knocking anybody out. She doesn't rely on the knockout power, but she breaks opponents down with volume, timing, conditioning. We were talking about this shit last night. Conditioning in boxing is everything. If you got the conditioning and the other one doesn't, no matter how talented they are, if they can't knock you out and they end up going beyond round 4 and 5, and it's a race to the finish line to see who has the most gas left in the tank, the person who's well conditioned, they're going to win. And that's why Yoshida is in the position she's in now. She got a great jab, she got great balance, and she maintains a consistent pace that forces opponents to work every second of every round. And that's why she's in the position she's in now. And then that mental composure. You can be beating the shit out of her, man. She's not going to panic. She's not going to do nothing flagrant. She's not going to wilt. And more importantly, she doesn't chase moments, and she won't abandon her game plan. Very, very disciplined. Against flashier fighters, this becomes her biggest advantage. So if someone gets in there trying to showboat, she understands distance, she understands angles, she understands timing, and she understands scoring. That's why she thrives in championship fights, and that's why she's won the championships she's won. There's been 8 title fights, although she has 5 losses. So you may say, well, yo, why don't we know about her? Why is she not a star? Because there's some limitations there, okay? Some limitations there. The biggest one is the same thing that makes her respected by boxing purists. She's not flashy. You know, it's not someone you're going to break your neck to really go see. She's not knocking people out. She's not dominating with highlight reels. She doesn't talk trash. In today's boxing climate, that can hurt marketability. You know, you got to be able to do something to keep your name in the headlines. Doesn't always work out for you as far as the fans and how they respond, but it keeps people talking about you. But she also struggles with elite athletes who have size, have speed, physical explosiveness. Those are things that she's shown to struggle a little bit with, man. But fighters who can fight on the outside, punching combination, reset quickly, tend to edge her out on the scorecards, man. But she's solid. She's not overwhelming. So where does she rank amongst the elite? At bantamweight and nearby divisions, she's in the upper second tier, lower elite tier. She's more proven than prospects, less dominant than the true superstars, and she's a dangerous opponent for anyone overlooking her. But you try to compare her to Katie Taylor and Baumgartner, Caroline Dubois, Shadacia Green. You know, I'll say this. When you compare her to the Katie Taylors and Serranos, Yoshida is below their global impact and athletic ceiling. But she's still there. With Baumgartner's power, size, star power, separator. Yoshida doesn't have those things. When it comes to Caroline Dubois, Dubois has youth, explosiveness, and she got the momentum. Yoshida doesn't quite have that. And Shadacia Green, my friend, she's got the power, physicality, athleticism, ability and drive to learn and get better. And she creates a very, very high threat level in the ring no matter who it's with. Yoshida doesn't have that. So she fits into a category of fighters you must beat to be taken seriously. But it's not easy. That's why if someone can beat Yoshida, they belong up there in the upper echelon because she is no joke. So what's next for her? I don't know, just the matchmaking. Like I said earlier, they're trying to line up a fight for her, man, right now. But, I don't know what's going to happen because she exposes hype jobs and she tests champions. And sometimes people don't want to take on a high-risk opponent like her. You know what I'm saying? But I think a realistic path, she just needs to stay busy. Continue fighting top 10 opponents, capture another belt. If styles line up and there's an opportunity, go get you another belt. She may not dominate an entire division, but she'll always be competitive and she'll get wins. So we'll see. She got the respect. I don't think she quite has the stardom yet. You look at what's going on out there with the men, Nakatani, Inoue, Sumi. They got guys out there getting busy in Japan. But she's one of the females who's representing well. But if she had that power, she'd be out of here. You know what I'm saying? She just doesn't have the power, man. But she still matters. She still matters. We know the sport of boxing increasingly is being driven by personalities, controversy, drama and shit. But she represents what boxing used to reward. Right now, everybody rewards the Twitter bullshit. The confrontational language bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Instagram wars. She ain't about that. She's all about fundamentals, conditioning, mental toughness, professionalism. So she may never trend on social media like some of these other fighters, but she forces honesty in matchmaking. And that's one thing that you got to respect her for, and people know that. If you beat Yoshida, you earn it. If you lose to her, that means your ass getting exposed badly because she ain't there to play with you. So at the end of the day, Yoshida, not the face of women's boxing, but she's one of the measuring sticks, and she's a name that people know very well. She doesn't sell fights necessarily, but she defines standards, and that matters at the end of the day. We just got to see, because, you know, what sucks is we're in an era where a lot of fighters, they're promoted before they even prove it. And then you see they flop and shit. But Yoshida remains proof that boxing skills still matters. I'm looking forward to a next fight. Matter of fact, I'm starting to really pay attention to these women more and more since I started doing these lives 2 months ago. The women need more attention shed on them. So my kids are out of school the next 2 weeks. That's why I'm not doing a lot of videos. I'm just doing the live because I'm so busy with them. So I broke away for 30 minutes to do this one. But I'm going to try to make time to drop about 3 videos a day just on women and talk about their profiles, because nobody talks about them. You know, they'll talk about the same fighter every day for a year straight. And I get it. I understand. I do the little YouTube shit. I see what happens when you start to talk about a certain fight and you get clicks. I see what happens. You start to make from $300 to $1,000 to $2,000. Some of these guys making $100,000 or so a month. They're making dough. That's why they talk about the same shit over and over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I get it. But, you know, for me, I stick with my lives at night, but during the day, I got to drop regular boxing content. I got to talk about the fighters. The shit at 9 o'clock at night is fun. It's open line. Y'all can call, talk about anything. Goddamn, got a flat tire in your car. Whatever y'all want to talk about. But during the day, I got to put shit like this out, because the way these men and women are training, it's some of them not getting the visibility. Shit, if I could take this channel that I don't have a large channel. Hopefully we can get there. If I can do that to help some people's profiles and put them on fans' radars so where they start to get more views and more support, well, then I feel good about myself. But right now, I'm about to get my ass out here and fight with this goddamn Christmas crowd, do a little bit of last-minute shopping, and drink my coffee. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. MIYO Yoshida gets busy. Sleep on her, your ass will lose. Keep cool. I'll be on tonight in the breeze.